Today I'm going to be starting the first of, I believe, 7 videos where I'm just going to be reviewing all of the water mixable oil colors that I've tried out over the past, I guess it'd be almost coming up on a year tomorrow, I think. So I've got a palette down here with what I'll be reviewing first, and that's the Winsor & Newton water mixable oil. So let's see if we can cut real quick over to that. There we go. So here's the palette. I just picked 3 of the colors that I use most often, and that would be cadmium yellow, raw umber, and then dark sienna. And these also showcase some of the different properties you'll get if you are using this brand of paint. So I'll just get into some high level stuff first. So there are 40 colors available if you're using Winsor & Newton water mixable oils. They use modified linseed oil and I believe safflower or sunflower oil. And they have also, let's see if I have a little tube of it here. Oh, I do, right here. You could buy the oil, standalone oil, and if you are using this brand, make sure you get the water mixable oil. When I first got it, I bought the regular linseed oil, and it made for some pretty terrible effects with the water. So if you are trying this out, make sure you get the modified one if you're buying it all at the same time. They have the consistency, I'll say, of this paint is very thick. It is very similar to, especially like this yellow color. This is probably the thickest that they have. It's very similar to the Bob Ross ones if you've used those paints before. Very, very thick paint. Very buttery consistency, but you will notice between tubes that you get the consistency changes. So this is a newer yellow that I've opened up, and it is not the same consistency as an older yellow that I've opened up. Even though it's the same cadmium yellow, they have different consistencies. So this is just, I'm just pulling right through the raw umber, and this one is very smooth, and it is also very glossy. I don't know if you can see that or if there's a way I can show that in the light here, but this umber is very glossy, and when it dries it's also very glossy. So if you're painting a rock or something and you've got raw umber on it with this brand of paint, your rock ends up being shiny, which I don't like that, but you might like that, and that's okay. This is burnt sienna, and this is very gritty and it's very matte. I'm not sure why it is that way, but this one also, I don't know if you can see it, is not as shiny. So if you are using the dark sienna as a base, or burnt sienna as a base, and then you add raw umber to it, you'll get spots of glossiness in the paint, which adds some nice effect to it. The price range of these, a 200 milliliter tube is $16 to $34 US. A small 37 milliliter tube is $6 to $11, so they're pretty cheap, relatively cheap paints. They are, I think they're very good for beginners. You can also use them if you're a professional as well. I think they would work. And then down here, I just wanted to show, I've mixed these with water already, and some of them have, they've dried and they lose their glossiness. So like the raw umber here is not as glossy when it's mixed with water. Actually, all of them, I suppose, are not as glossy when they're mixed with water. I think that's an effect when you mix the modified linseed oil with water. It breaks the oil down so it's not as luminous, I think is the word for it. It's not as glossy, that's what I would say. They all clean up really well. It has very good cleanup, except for, I will mention this, and I don't have this problem with other brands of water mixable oils. So this is a brush that I've used recently with blue, and I've washed this many times in water, and for whatever reason, it does not come out. Like, I can rough this on a rag real quick. You can see the pigments come out. You probably would not like this. I have to clean these with mineral oil like once a week to get this blue pigment out. It does not come out with water. I have no idea why it doesn't come out with water, even though they're water mixable oils. Most of it comes out, but like the pigment just it just sticks in it. So that's one annoying thing with this brand specifically. There are other brands that you will run into a similar problem, but this one is primarily with the blue. So Prussian blue and phthalo blue have this problem. And then lastly, I'll just talk about drying time. So these ones that I mixed with water, that was fairly recent. So if you're doing anything with water, and you run water use water as your thinner, it's going to dry really fast. And I don't know if that's a quality that you would like, but it is something to note when you're dealing with water mixable oils. So like if I leave these for 5 or 10 minutes, this will all be dried out after I mix them with water here. On a regular cold day, it takes 10 to 15 or 10 to 16 days, sometimes 20 days. If it's alizarin crimson, that one takes forever to dry. If you're using warm weather, like a heating room, it takes a little bit a little bit shorter than that. So 4 to 10 days usually. So that's that. And this is a painting that I did fairly recently with Winsor & Newton's. And I'll just bring it down so you can kind of see what the paints look like. And I'll turn this overhead light off as well so there's no glare. There we go. All right, so that's kind of what the paints look like. Hopefully this is helpful to you. If you have any other questions about Winsor & Newton's, let me know. I used them for pretty much 10 months and then I switched to Lucas Berlin's, but I also tried a number of other brands as well, so I'll be covering those in future videos. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll catch you next time.